Welcome to the Altcoin Hour, your weekly alpha. Yeah, we breaking down the charts, flipping bags, playing smart, from the dips to the moon shots, connecting all the dots. Let's get it. Altcoin Hour.
All right. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are doing very well. I don't think my cloud was actually. I didn't like that cloud. Let me do it again. Welcome to the show. I don't think it was connected. So, we're going to talk about a few things. Not a long. I'm not going to hold you too long. But again, welcome to the show. Bitcoin testing that $80,000 support. Will we go up to 85? It depends on a lot of things. Let me turn this music down just a little bit. We got a lot of things going into tomorrow. Inflation data as well. We have some issues that are going on in China tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow is a big day. The 14th, 2026. A decent fifth month of the. We're already, really downhill when it comes to months. We're deep. Almost halfway through the actual 2026, which is crazy to me because I feel like everything is going really quick. But 79,000, we're going to get into this very quick. I got some topics I want to get into. Most definitely, we're going to get the member giveaway before we get out of here as well. Stock market, just doing stock market things. There's some divergence that's going on too when it comes to Bitcoin and stocks, which is good. We need that decoupling. We need Bitcoin to move on its own. We don't need it to be coupled with stocks, tech, things of that nature. But with that being said, Mag 7, predominantly doing well. Bond market is getting a little wacky too. We got some articles we're going to get into it concerning that macro effect, that correlative effect when it comes to that. But with that being said, there's a lot to get into, and I'm gonna try to cramp all this into a 30-minute show. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got a lot to go. Lot to get into today as we run into this. Now, let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin because we're looking at $79,000. Briefly went up and breached that. We did get above that. We got up to, I'm gonna go ahead and call $82,000. So hand clap for that. I like that. But we're down. Here's the question. Did it fail the actual 80K test? I don't think it failed because there's a lot of pressure. All right. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to this. Some of these headlines, and there's actually a really crazy headline that I got to get into this. All right, because I believe now let me go ahead and do this one more time. I wonder why that didn't do what it was supposed to do there. One more time. There it goes. Now, I'm going to share this with you guys before we get knee deep into it. Let's see here. Did I block that? Okay, here we go. I don't think you can see it, which that is weird. Hold on just a sec. I think I hit the wrong freaking button here. All right, let me try this again. Just a sec. All right, so let's go ahead and do this one more time. This is what happens when you unexpectedly have issues with your streamer. So I think there you go. You can see that now. Now we're back on track. Now I saw this earlier. Sorry about the interruption there. Saw this earlier. And by the way, it is breaking. It is very much breaking. I want to read this to you now. Maybe there's a nothing burger here, but this has a lot to do with the quantum threat, but not so quantum. This is going to be Anthropic's model essentially. And it says breaking Anthropic's cracked 9-year-old locked Bitcoin wallet. This is very interesting. I want to report this before we get into the report. Anthropic's cracking a 9-year-old Bitcoin wallet. Very interesting. As you see here on the report, holy effing, and I got to say the whole thing. This guy posted, Claude just cracked a freaking old Bitcoin wallet. All right. Now, I want to bring this up because Mr. Freeze actually kind of dampened the actual effect of this because he says, to be clear, This wasn't Claude breaking strong encryption or guessing an unknown password from scratch. It was forensics, final analysis. It was a tool that was used by the owner or the owners on a data dump. Okay, Claude acted like a smart assistant that found the right backup file. This is what happened. This is what Mr. Free said actually happened, and correctly ran recovery tools so that the owner could actually recover his wallet. So this is a wallet recovery effort that actually went well. So this is pretty cool. Now, it's not like it, went into Bitcoin, found a random wallet and, unlocked it, and cracked it. That's not what happened. This was part of a test, which was very successful. And it actually recovered a pretty old wallet that this user was looking for. So this was a test that was actually successful. I want to go ahead and hand clap this, because if you really think about, what just happened as we get back into the market, if you really think about what I just said here, we had a wallet recovery that was successful, 9-year-old wallet that was lost. That's what happened there. So it's been reported as a hack, as an actual crack of the encryption. That actually didn't happen. So I wanted to clear that up before that really starts running. Anthropics did not crack the wallet. It was actually recovered with some tools that they're working on for wallet recovery. Pretty interesting. So there's going to come a day to where you're not going to have to worry about that. You're going to be able to recover your funds. So pretty cool. This is what we're looking forward to. So $79,000, we did get rejected. 82 was that particular push up. Now, this is what's really happening, because there's a lot of actual news about this divergence when it comes to Bitcoin and the US stock market. All right, that split. It's pretty dramatic. Now, you have global financial crisis fears that are growing because the bond yields have hit 1998 levels. All right. This is slightly before Bitcoin actually dropped below 80,000. Now, it's not that far below 80,000, but it is a considerable drop from 82 because of where we're going. All right. So there's a lot of things. In fact, we're going to be getting to the Clarity Act, because there have been over 100 amendments that have been actually torpedoed into the fold. 80,000 demand letters that are essentially targeting stablecoin rewards. Now, I thought these rewards were already dealt with. I thought there was a compromise. Apparently, the banks are like, whoa, we have some amendments. We need to relook this again. So you have the ethics situation. You have a lot of things that have been compromised. We thought that the actual stablecoin situation was compromised. It doesn't look like that way, guys, because 3 hours ago, 100 amendments were submitted by bankers. Okay. And they're targeting the stablecoin rewards. They don't want us to have any rewards, whether if it's activity based or standing holding wallet rewards. They want this all omitted. They do not want decentralized finance rewards as well. They don't care if it's activity based or if they don't care. The banks do not want us to be able to park in decentralized finance, financial applications or exchanges. They don't want us to park whether it's activity or not. We'll get into the stipulations here. They don't care. They want rewards based when it comes to any type of banking activity, or if it's mimicking anything that's in the real world when it comes to banking. They don't want that in crypto. They don't want us to enjoy that, guys, because it's double digit rewards. Some of these platforms are giving out double digit rewards and the banks cannot compete with that. This is a reoccurring issue that may basically shelve the Clarity Act. That is going to be very bearish for this space. That is going to cause Bitcoin to plummet. That is not going to affect stocks. And this is why you see this divergence. You see the grumbling, you see the stablecoin argument coming back up in the Clarity Act discussion. 100 plus amendments that have been sent, 80,000 demand letters against stablecoin rewards all over again. Here comes that never-ending carousel. I thought this was dealt with. Apparently not. So yeah, Bitcoin price as well, sitting at $78,000. This thing is just, if it wasn't for the institutions, it would probably be below 60K. I always say this because it's true. They are absorbing the supply of Bitcoin like crazy. Michael Saylor, BlackRock, which they have a private credit debacle that they have to deal with sometime this year. They're going to have to deal with that. Michael Saylor has come out and already said, we're going to sell Bitcoin. We're just trying to figure out strategically when we're going to have to do that. So they're going to sell Bitcoin. Now, Here's another headline. Bitcoin price just lost 80K because US PPI hit 6%, masking 2022 levels, stoking inflation fears. And inflation is going to rise. Okay. That is a certain. We're going to get inflationary period, hyperinflationary period going into third and fourth quarter, because I don't see an end of the war situation. I don't see this de-escalating. I don't think Trump's going to get his way in China tomorrow. I don't think the Clarity Act is going to actually get to where we need it to get. This is just my opinion, but what I'm seeing now within the last 3 hours with all these new letters and amendments, crazy movement here. Over 300,000 emails. Ridiculous. And it's all because of the stablecoin rewards. The banks cannot compete with that. We get it. I totally understand it. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is waiting for rate cuts as well. The institutions are going to keep on buying over $1 billion in the last 2 weeks, leading up to what is it, the 14th, which is tomorrow, essentially. All of this is FOMO. So if it doesn't happen, you're going to see an avalanche of sales, an avalanche of fear. What does Michael Saylor do then if the Clarity Act doesn't pass? This is a really good question. So lots of headlines surrounding that, and it's crazy. I want to get into the top 10, and then we'll get back into this discussion, the macro discussion. $79,000 for Bitcoin, Ethereum, $2,200, roughly down 4%, 7-day period. BNB, $671. BNB is moving like a stable coin. It's just up across the board. No problems there. Up almost 4%. XRP 142. That is $1.42. By the way, just a quick little hit on XRP. Okay. Wall Street is buying XRP like crazy. Binance traders keep betting against it. So you have real world institutions they're continuing to buy XRP. Yeah, some pretty good news a couple of days ago too. I'm not going to go too far into it because it's pretty in depth, but I want to keep this, encapsulated into around 30 minutes here. Spot ETF inflows have risen, guys, when it comes to this ETF, essentially. Institutional credit expansions. You have a bearish notion there, but when it comes to Wall Street, people are buying. This is why you see it cresting and kind of floating at around $1.42. Will it break out to $5 post Clarity Act? I think a lot of these alts are going to break out and they're probably going to see new ATHs because you're going to have those ETF baskets, those stakeable baskets. They're going to follow the Clarity Act and the market structure bill if it passes. Institutional inflow is going to be mad crazy if we get the Clarity Act, but I don't think we're going to get it. This is the problem. I don't think we're going to actually get it. And that's a bad deal. Bad deal. So Solana, $91. It did get back up over $80, which is great, up 3% right now. Tron, 35 cents. It's moving slightly. Dogecoin, 11 cents. Hyperliquid, just under $40. It's down pretty decently across the board there, almost 10% within a 7-day period. Cardano cruising at 26 cents. Zcash back over $500, which is pretty decent. Chainlink is over $10. Hand clap for that. Hand clap for that. I'm loving Chainlink, some movement. Monero, that sweet OG privacy protocol. It's just, I'm going to go ahead and call $400 by the end of the week. It is sitting at $393, up slightly. And it's actually down 4% within the 7-day period. So you see the Zcash movement upward, which is pretty interesting. I don't think you can knock these down. I don't care what happened to the dev team when it comes to Zcash. I think it's still going to get back up to $700. And this is what it's doing very slowly. Canton has some very good news just recently. Huge news, up 6%. This is why you see Canton pumping pretty profusely. A pretty decent news that just popped out with Canton. Do your research on that. You might want to get involved. Tokenization is down from that huge pump as well, down almost 12%. So a lot of whales, a lot of people took profit. And rightly so. Tokenization pumped pretty hard, and it's a pretty reputable coin. It's not a shit coin. So we understand why that pumped. If you do understand what happened with Tone, we understand why that pumped, and a lot of people took profits across the board, down within a 24-hour period, almost 9%. So a lot of profit taking there when it comes to that. Sui coin, What is going on with Sui coin? Almost up 22%. Crazy pumpage here. Almost got back up to $2. And then again, you have the selling. And a lot of this is fear. People want to get out because they don't know what's going to happen to the market. If I'm holding Sui and I saw this magnificent pump upward, probably going to take profit as well. This is what you see here. Pretty decent move up though. Big time. Big time. I got to see what happened here. Let's see here. Okay, so that was a partnership that was announced here with Sui. That's what happened here. Okay. With Sui Live in mind. Okay, gotcha. Tokenized bonds in real estate. So we have some RWA movement within the Sui chain. Hand clap for that. Nice. Very, very good. So we'll round it up with Litecoin, roughly $56. Meme core is back over $3 in AVAX, just under 10. Hand clap for the market. I would tell you this. We're slightly moving into the oversold territory. So when you see the rotation, there's a slight rotation going into altcoins. This is not an altcoin season move. We're probably going to get into around the 45 sector when it comes to the index, but I got to tell you, this is not an alt move. This is not full rotation into altcoin season, because Bitcoin will recover if the Clarity Act passes. You're going to get some alt movement, but you're not going to get an altcoin season, because institutions are going to fall into Bitcoin even more profusely, more aggressively. You're going to have a lot of action with stablecoins. I think the TVL, when it comes to decentralized finance, I think it's going to go bonkers post Clarity Act. But you're not going to see a robust move into altcoins, because you're going to see metals pump too as well. Now, this is why I say this, guys, when it comes to altcoin season. The reason why I don't see it happening this year is because of what's going on in the Middle East. What's going on with tariffs? What's going on with the interest rate? Wars was confirmed. We're talking about Jerome Powell leaving. He's still going to remain as a governor. They're not going to kick him out. He wants to hang around for some reason. But Wars is going to come in, and we don't know what he's going to do. He could raise rates for the long term. He can lower them, which I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's a hyperinflationary type of guy. Right? So we don't know what he's going to do. There's a lot of uncertainty there. And the big elephant in the room is the war, the potential of an all-out war. You have oil prices that are continuing to rise, spot prices well over $100. That affects buyership. That affects everything. And I was looking at a chart earlier when it comes to the oil and the barrels, that when it comes to the reserves, all countries are running through their reserves very, very quickly. Okay, you have some countries that are down to 100 barrels, and there's no end to what's going on overseas. So as far as I see, there's no end to it. I'm looking at Brent oil, $105. That spot price is $135. Okay, the 105 is the future price. Spot price well over $130. Crude WTI, $100. It's going to say $101 even. That spot price is like $135. So we're in bad territory when it comes to what's going on in the Middle East. So there's a lot of manipulation in the market. The institutions are holding Bitcoin. There's some rotation. There's some FOMO when it comes to the actual effects of the Clarity Act, which everybody thinks is going to pass. Everybody thinks it's going to make it over and cross that checker flag this week. This is a huge week. And if we don't get any language, there's going to be a massive pullback. Speaking of pullback, speaking of fear and greed, 47, we're in a neutral area. Everybody's just waiting to see what's going to happen here. What are we going to get? We're looking at the RSI briefly. Again, in the middle, slightly into the oversold territory. People are starting to get ready to sell. You can just see it. People are starting to hit the sell button because they're not very, very confident in what is going on. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on very, very soon. So when you look at this quick market snapshot, we have Bitcoin hovering at around 80,000, dip below 80K. All right. PPI inflation data surging well over 6%. Very bearish. Still modestly week over week. I think we're gonna continue to test this resistance near around $82,000. If all hell doesn't break loose in the Middle East. ETH is relatively flat. watching for that ETF altcoin momentum, Ethereum. You have Sol. We just talked about Sol, $91,000, 96 could be the breakout, but it keeps retreating from the $100 mark. So there's some ETF buzz there too as well. Post clarity. We need the clarity act. We need market structure. We need this to pass. We need clarity. We're going to get into these the new markup as well. There's some things I want to discuss when it comes to that before we conclude the show here. We have a consolidation phase with a slight fear factor. This is what I see here, guys. Institutional inflow continues when it comes to BTC, ETH, and ETFs. But the macro matters. Inflation, rate cuts, Fed policy uncertainty. Will we go up? Will we go down? This is what looms here. This is what's looming here. Now we have the Trump Xi Jinping summit. We'll see how that works out this week. Okay. Because a lot of tariff talk is going to happen there. Trade, rare earths, when it comes to the minerals, Middle East issues. I'm pretty sure Trump is going to discuss some of this with the Xi Jinping. So we'll see what happens there. Historically, there's a lot of tension here and a lot of volatility that will occur. But there's an added element here that was not baked into the cake, and that's the Iran situation. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I want to get to this particular situation when it comes to the Clarity Act, because this is popping up again, unfortunately. And it sucks. Let's go ahead and get into this. Now, Clarity Act faces 100 plus amendments as bankers sent 80,000 demand letters against stablecoin rewards. This is crazy. I thought we were past all this. I really thought we were past all this. I'm going to read into this article and we'll react to it. The Senate Banking Committee, I can't believe this is an issue all over again. Let's get into this. The Banking Committee's crypto market structure bill is headed to the Clarity Act markup, which you already have that 380 pages with more than 100 proposed amendments. This is turning a long delayed vote on the Clarity Act into a test of whether a fragile stablecoin compromise can survive pressures from banks, Democrats, and there's some Republicans too that are not liking this as well, and the crypto industries groups as well. They're back at it. They're back at the table again when it comes to these stablecoins. The final number of amendments has not been formally confirmed. However, the current markup amendment proposals puts it in the same range as the January effort, when 137 amendments, were submitted before a planned committee vote was actually scrapped. So we have that going into tomorrow, along with what's going on with the Trump summit in China. Lots of things happening tomorrow. The size of the amendment pile underscores how unsettled the bill remains even after months of no negotiations. So we've gone nowhere. We've gone absolutely nowhere. We were told there was a compromise. I don't see a compromise here. Over 100 amendments have been proposed within the last 3 hours. Over 3,000 emails. There's an email war at this point in time that's going on here. What the hell is going on with this? The most consequential fight is over stablecoin rewards. Once again, this issue has helped stall the early negotiations, but now threatens to reopen the dividend or the divide between crypto companies and the banking industry. Here we go all over again. The Senate compromise would prohibit rewards on idle stablecoins holding when those rewards are reassembled or resemble interest like you see in the real world. It would still allow incentives based on activity. Now, the new amendments here that I just read of that have come rushing in all of a sudden are a direct contradiction to what I just read you. The banking groups have pushed senators to close what they have viewed as a loophole, guys, and to prevent stablecoin issues or affiliates from offering yield-like incentives that compete with banks. Now, I want to talk about what they are actually dealing with here. Now, these are the actual, I guess, deal breakers, I guess I would say, when it comes to this, because this is where we're headed. This is what the market is depending on. This particular language, which is crazy because there is no compromise at this point in time. all of the positive language that you're seeing that has been tweeted or whatever, the positive articles, it's just placation. The banking committee, the crypto groups, there is no agreement when it comes to this at all. And as far as ethics, I don't even know if that's going to pass either. The ethics language, because that's essentially a Trump bill. So this is what we're working with. The second CFTC jurisdiction split. We finally got clear actual language when it comes to who's going to govern digital commodities, stock markets, exchanges, brokers and dealers, crypto companies. It's going to be the CFTC. So we have that. That was a big one. The SEC is going to do the securities when it comes to ancillary assets, those disclosures and presumptions for this decentralization when it comes to those actual securities. That's going to be the SEC, but the CFTC, they're going to be over crypto essentially. So we have that distinction, that split. That was a pretty big deal. Now, the digital commodities and graduation pathways for the commodities as well, i.e. network tokens like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana, these particular coins on mature decentralized blockchain ecosystems, they're going to be commodities. We have that clarity, finally. This was a pretty decent one as well. So there is a clear oversight, clear clarity when it comes to what is a security and what is a commodity. If it's a blockchain coin, it's a commodity. Exchange of medium, it's a commodity. That's good for the blockchain coins. That we needed that. Now, stablecoin rules. This is the hot compromise. There is no compromise. There have been a ton of emails that have been floating around recently today. Lots of new amendments. The banks are having second thoughts about what they agreed on. This may stop this in its tracks all over again. Be mindful of that. Now, the actual current markup states that, just like I told you earlier, you can't get SOL or payment, when it comes to interest on just holding an idle stablecoin on an exchange or on a particular application. It has to be activity based, tied to payments, transfers, or platform usage. Those are allowed. Now, all of a sudden, the banks are like, wait a minute, we don't even like this. We don't even like that. Yeah, we said we would compromise on it, but we don't even like that. We want to come back to the table. We may need to take some skin off of that, a little bit more skin off of it. So be looking for this to come back, especially tomorrow. If this doesn't go through, it's because of this all over again. The stablecoin compromise. The banks do not want any of this at all. Now, when it comes to DeFi developer protection, this was a big thing as well. They actually figured this out. But DeFi is going to change. Under this new markup, guys, the actual fabric of decentralized finance is going to change. There's going to be a slight level of regulation. And a lot of it is basically under the umbrella of consumer and market protection. This is what they're putting this under, this umbrella when it comes to AML and KYC. Okay. There's going to be a split when it comes to the actual regulatory value tool. You're going to have CFTC and the SEC actually regulating DeFi. I want to get to some of these actual bullet points. Limits on insider and related person resales of ancillary assets. This is going to be one of the regulatory measures here. And they, quote unquote, this is going to be to prevent dumps. Very interesting. There's going to be required educational material provision as well on all digital asset applications or platforms or ecosystems that are transmitting money, that are offering financial services. You're going to have an embedded educational sector of your platform. It's mandatory. Not just a simple FAQ. Digital assets is number 3. Digital assets are going to be treated as customer property during a bankruptcy or a collapse. Very interesting. AML platforms and programs under the Bank Secrecy Act. Digital assets now explicitly have to include this. So AML is going to be in your DApps. Post language. It's going to be, mandatory. This is going to be very interesting. And I spoke to you about the regulatory sandbox for innovation and testing. It's going to be a joint venture with the SEC and the CFTC. So consumer and market protection measures are going to be implanted into decentralized finance. I kind of like that. There's a lot of apps that get rug pulled. They're going to be held responsible and they're going to be regulated. And the government is going to try to prevent these particular dumps and these the taking of customer assets during a collapse, essentially, or bankruptcy, or things of that nature. They're not going to be able to run with our money anymore. We've seen this happen recently. So we have that there. Other notable issues that were actually, solved: no CBDC for monetary policy, updates to monetary instruments definitions, FTC keeps unfair practices authorities over NFTs, consumer tokens, and you have a regulation crypto exemption path for fundraising limits as well. So you have that exemption for fundraising. So listen, a lot of this got the green light, but we're going all the way back. We're circling back on the stablecoin rules. This is what's happening. This is what's going on right now. This is what's on the table. This is the actual discussion all over again. Stablecoins. And whether the banks really want to allow activity based now. They said you can't have the idle stablecoin. But now they're saying we don't even like the activity based yield. We just want people to get yield from our establishments. We don't want people to get double digit yield. We don't want them to self custody. We don't like it. So this is what's going on, guys. I don't think we're going to see a Clarity Act this year. I could be wrong, but I really don't think we're going to see the Clarity Act this year. This is just my opinion, obviously, but I don't think it's happening because of the stablecoin. This is a hot situation that the banks are not capitulating on. They don't want it. They want all yield removed from stablecoins. Now, I think they're going to come after the tokens as well when it comes to the decentralized applications, those synthetic token yields, to where you can put, some of these altcoins into these different platforms and get your yield. They don't want you to do that either. What's going on, Joshua? They don't want you to do that either. This is the thing. The banks do not want us to generate yield. They want to control this. So we don't get this compromise. And like I told you guys, over 300,000 emails that are circulating right now. The banks are like, hold on. Hold the door. We need to rehash this. We don't even like the new markup. So here we go. And I thought the ethics language is going to stop the Clarity Act. Nah, it's still the stablecoin BS. It's ridiculous. So this is where we're at. All right. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I can get even more bearish. But when it comes to the macro, when it comes to the whole aspect of the market, as we get back to the market, I don't think Bitcoin is going to pass the test. And I'm just going to say it like that. I always keep it real on the show. We didn't pass the 80K test. We got up to 82. All right. These particular institutions, Michael Saylor, which he's basically saying, we're about to sell some Bitcoin, guys. You saw that report. BlackRock could be forced to liquidate as well if the private credit goes absolutely bonkers and that goes left. People are going to sell if we don't get the Clarity Act. Get ready for the reduction in price. Get ready for the actual reduction globally when it comes to the market cap. Get ready for your altcoins to absolutely plummet if Bitcoin hits $69,000. Okay. Now, those are some good buying opportunities for you guys as well, especially if you know what you're buying. But I just want to get you guys ready for this. I don't think we're going to get the Clarity Act. I think we're going to get some announcements later this week, probably Friday. And it's going to be shelved into 2029. This is exactly what Charles Hoskinson has been saying. And I think he called it. I think he called it. A lot of you don't like Charles Hoskinson. But I think he called it because there's no compromise here. It's kind of bearish. But it is what it is. And I got to tell you the truth about these things. So when it comes to any news before we get to the actual giveaway, that's it. You have JP Morgan really tapping into ETH and Solana as well. They're going to do a lot of tokenization going forward. And again, a lot of this tokenization, a lot of the RWA rocket ship activity that we're going to see as well, it depends on the Clarity Act as well. And it sucks that everything depends. The bullish nature of this market, the bullish nature of ETF, and I'm talking altcoin ETFs, not ETH and Bitcoin. Those baskets, those stakeable altcoins, the upward trajectory, the bullish notion, the alt season, all of this depends on whether the banks say yes or no to stablecoin activity. And it pisses me off because they should not have to say so. I thought crypto was independent, but obviously it's not. And apparently Bitcoin has been hijacked. It is what it is. All right. It is what it is. So let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. I see another report, and I'm not even going to go there. Let's go ahead and get into the giveaway because I'm seeing a lot of bearish shit right now. So let's go ahead and get into the giveaway. We're definitely going to give away some Solana today. I got to make sure that everybody is on the wheel, and I'm doing this live a little late in the week. I usually do it Mondays or Tuesdays. I'm sorry. So I think I got everybody on the wheel, and let's go ahead and give away some. So I need 2 winners. Let's go. 3 winners. I'm sorry. We do 3 winners. We do this every week on the live stream. All you have to do is interact with the content. Member only content. You got to become a member of the actual channel, and then that way you can catch the member content. And I think it's going to be Zoo 15,000 is going to be the first winner. And again, all you have to do is become a member, interact with the member content, and that will get you on the wheel, guys. So you can win some soul. And let's go ahead and get 2 more winners. I think oh wow, I thought it was going to be Sammy, but it looks like it's Crypto Joy 600. I haven't seen Crypto Joy on the wheel in a long time, so hand clap to you, Crypto Joy. I hope you're doing very, very well. One more. So I thought Meta 2446, you are going to be the actual last winner. So let's go ahead and do a recap on the wheel before we get out of here. So we have Suzu 15,000. Hand clap to you, Suzu. We have Crypto Joy 600. Hand clap to you, Crypto Joy. And we'll round it out with South Meta. I think that is 2446. Hand clap to you. All I need is that soul address. You know how to get in touch with me, guys. Your members, you understand how to get in touch with me. And congratulations to you guys as well on that win. I don't see anything else that I can get into, but plus I got to get out of here. It's already over 30 minutes. So with that being said, be mindful of what's going on. We have a lot of things going on the 14th. 14th is a huge day for 2026 when it comes to crypto projection. When it comes to not only the market projection, will we see an off season? I don't think so. We do have some slight rotation, and that is in the good altcoins, the ones that have substance. That's why you see that rotation going into Solana, ETH, a Bitcoin institutionally, that's that flow. ETF flow into Bitcoin was phenomenal. Over $1 billion in the last 2 weeks. And I think it has a lot to do with the actual FOMO, right? Potential passage of the Clarity Act. This is why you see this movement. This is why you see 80K. This is why you see that floor being reset to 80K and the resistance being plucked at around 83, which I don't, if we do get Clarity Act, I think we're going all the way up to $95,000. I'm just going to call it. If we don't, 60, I think the new floor is 55. It's going to be very bearish. So let me know what you think about the report, and we'll see you on the next show. Take it easy.